Have you ever wondered why relationships sometimes don't meet our expectations? As we navigate through the complex maze of human connections, we often carry with us a suitcase full of expectations. These can be a guiding beacon, illuminating our path towards fulfilling relationships. But what happens when these expectations are unrealistic? Well, they can become heavy anchors, pulling us down into the abyss of disappointment. Unrealistic expectations can turn the exciting journey of a relationship into a frustrating struggle. They can cloud our judgment, cause unnecessary stress, and in worst-case scenarios, even lead to the end of the relationship. It's essential to understand that not all expectations are unrealistic. However, it is equally important to acknowledge that some are, and these can be the most detrimental. So, what are these expectations that we need to watch out for? Let's dive into the top 10 most unrealistic expectations we often have in relationships. Starting off our countdown at number 10, we have the expectation of perfection. Picture this, a partner who's always put together, never makes mistakes, and seems to exist in a constant state of flawlessness. Sounds ideal, right? But let's face reality, folks. Such perfection is as mythical as unicorns and as elusive as a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. In truth, everyone has their quirks, their weaknesses, and their off days. Imperfections make us human, they make us real. Expecting perfection from a partner can lead to disappointment and unnecessary strain. Instead, let's focus on understanding and acceptance. Let's appreciate our partners for their strengths and stand by them in their weaknesses. After all, it's through these very imperfections that we often find the most profound connections and build the deepest bonds. Remember, no one is perfect, but everyone is unique in their own way. At number 9, we find constant excitement. Picture this. You're on a roller coaster ride of thrill and adventure, every minute of every day. Sounds exhilarating, right? But in reality, it's an unrealistic expectation. Relationships aren't always about grand gestures and adrenaline-pumping escapades. It's about the quiet moments too, the subtle gestures of love and the comfort found in the mundane. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of a relationship being a non-stop adventure. But let's face it, life isn't a Hollywood movie. It's important to appreciate the ordinary moments like sharing a cup of coffee in the morning or laughing together at a silly joke. These moments of calm and simplicity are what truly build a strong, lasting relationship. So, rather than seeking constant excitement, let's cherish the quiet moments. Those small, seemingly insignificant instances can create the most profound connections. Remember, even the most ordinary moments can be extraordinary. Number 8 on our list is the expectation of mind reading. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if our partners could just peek into our minds and know exactly what we're thinking or feeling? Well, it's a charming thought, but it's far from reality. You see, we all are unique individuals with our distinct thoughts, feelings, and emotions. We can't expect our partners to always know what's going on in our minds, especially without any communication. This expectation often leads to misunderstandings and disappointments in relationships. Instead, what's crucial is open, honest, and clear communication. It's about expressing your thoughts, your feelings, your needs, and your wants. It's about being vulnerable and trusting your partner with your truths. No one is a mind reader, and it's unfair to expect your partner to be one. So let's drop the unrealistic expectation of mind reading and embrace the beauty of communication, because remember, communication is key in any successful relationship. Coming in at number 7 is the expectation of no arguments. Now, this is a tricky one. We all love the idea of a smooth sailing relationship where disagreements are as rare as a blue moon. But let's get real, folks. We're all individuals with our own thoughts, opinions, and yes, quirks. It's only natural that we won't see eye to eye on everything. Expecting to agree on absolutely everything is like expecting a rainbow without any rain. It's just not realistic. It's the disagreements, the debates, and yes, even the arguments, that help us grow as individuals and as a couple. The trick isn't to avoid arguments, but to learn how to navigate them. Healthy conflict resolution is key. It's about expressing your thoughts and feelings openly and honestly, listening to your partner's perspective, and finding a mutual solution. Remember, it's not about who's right or wrong, it's about understanding and respect. Disagreements are natural, it's how we handle them that matters. Halfway through our list at number 6, we have the expectation of complete change. This is the belief that one's partner will or should completely overhaul their personality or habits for the sake of the relationship. But here's the reality. People change and grow, yes, but expecting someone to transform entirely is not only unrealistic, but also unfair. Imagine someone asking you to change your love for art, or your passion for soccer, or your fondness for classic movies. Doesn't sound too appealing, does it? These are parts of who you are, and it's the same for your partner. Their quirks, interests, and habits are elements of their identity. Asking someone to change could mean asking them to abandon parts of themselves. That's not love, that's control. So rather than expecting a complete change, embrace your partner's individuality. Love them for who they are, not who you want them to be. At number 5, we find the expectation of complete happiness. A common misconception floating around is that a relationship is a one-stop shop for all your happiness needs. This isn't just unrealistic, it's downright detrimental. Placing the entirety of your joy in someone else's hands not only heaps an unfair burden on them, but it also strips you of your own agency. Let's face it, we all have our ups and downs, and no relationship is immune to that. It's perfectly normal to have days where you feel less than ecstatic. What's important is not to rely solely on your partner to bring you back up. You are your own person, with your own interests, passions, and capabilities. Remember, a relationship is meant to complement your happiness, not to be its sole source. It's essential to cultivate your own joy, to find what makes you tick outside of your relationship. After all, happiness starts with you, not with your relationship. Number 4 on our list is the expectation of no sacrifices. Now let's be honest, folks, this idea is as far-fetched as they come. Relationships are about balance, about give and take. The notion that you can have a partnership without making sacrifices is as unrealistic as expecting to find a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. You see, in a relationship, sacrifices are inevitable. They might be as small as giving up the last slice of pizza, or as big as moving to a new city for your partner's job. But these sacrifices, big or small, are what make relationships work. They show that you care, that you're willing to put your partner's needs and happiness before your own at times. And remember, compromise is not about losing, it's about finding a middle ground, a solution that works for both parties. Compromise is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength and maturity. Coming in at number 3 is the expectation of endless romance. Ah, the allure of endless romance, the constant stream of grand gestures and heart-stopping surprises. But let's take a step back and delve into reality. You see, sustaining a relationship on a steady diet of extravagant candle-lit dinners, surprise getaways, and heart-shaped chocolates is not only unrealistic, it's exhausting. Romance isn't about the grandeur of gestures, it's about the depth of connection. It's those small, everyday acts of love that truly matter. A warm hug after a long day, a shared laugh over an inside joke, or simply holding hands while watching a movie. These are the moments that weave the fabric of a lasting relationship. So remember, while grand gestures can be lovely, they are not the lifeblood of romance. Genuine affection, understanding and care, these are the true heroes in the story of love. Romance is more than grand gestures, it's about genuine affection and care. Almost at the top, at number 2, we have the expectation of finding a soulmate. This is a concept that's been sold to us by fairy tales, romantic comedies, and pop songs. We've been told that there's a one out there, a perfect person who will complete us, understand us without words, and love us unconditionally. But here's the reality check. Nobody is perfect. In fact, the idea of a soulmate can put an enormous amount of pressure on a relationship. It suggests that love is something that just happens to us, rather than something we actively work on. It paints an unrealistic picture of effortless harmony, when in reality, every relationship has its ups and downs. The truth is, a strong relationship is not about finding the perfect person. It's about building a connection with someone, accepting their flaws, and growing together. It's about effort, understanding, and patience. A strong relationship is built, not found. And finally, at number 1, we have the most unrealistic expectation of all: happily ever after. This is the idea that once you've found the one, everything will be smooth sailing, with no hurdles or challenges. It's a notion deeply ingrained in our minds thanks to countless fairy tales and romantic comedies. But real life isn't a movie or a storybook. Every relationship comes with its own set of challenges and struggles. What truly matters is how we navigate these challenges. It's about understanding that happily ever after doesn't mean a problem-free life, but rather a life where you and your partner work through problems together. It's about growing, learning, and evolving, both individually and as a couple. It's about choosing each other every single day, despite the challenges that life throws at you. Every relationship has its ups and downs, but it's how we handle them that leads to our own version of happily ever after. So, there you have it, the top 10 most unrealistic expectations in a relationship. We've navigated through the labyrinth of perfection, constant excitement, mind reading, and the misconception that arguments are inherently bad. We've examined the complexities behind the belief that people can completely change, that relationships should provide complete happiness, and that sacrifices are unnecessary. We've also explored the myths around endless romance, the soulmate theory, and the idea of living happily ever after. The truth is, relationships are a delicate balance of love, understanding, compromise, and sometimes even a little bit of disagreement. They are about growing together, learning about each other, and accepting the other person, flaws and all. It's about setting realistic expectations and understanding that no relationship is perfect, but it can be perfect for you. Now, it's your turn. What are your expectations in a relationship? Comment below and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more relationship advice.